Boo-doo-boo-ba-doo-doo. Oh, I'm live. Okay, I'm back, I'm back. And obviously nobody knows it because I just queued up the live stream and immediately fired it up and didn't even schedule it. How rude, as Jar Jar Binks would say. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to get right into it and kind of see who shows up. It's 5:46 now, Eastern Standard Time. And earlier today, oh hey, yeah, hey Darren, look who's back. Okay, so earlier today we got this shot smacked out. We're going to be coming back to that one again for a couple shots here downstream. We just did this one. Now we got this shot, which is going to be a lot of fun because there's going to be a little bit of character animation required in order to pull off what we need to do here, because we've got to get from this to this, basically. So there's that. Hey, Pimpin. And then this next shot of Mel, where he's kind of surprised. Obviously, we're going to be reusing that. And this is, of course, the hairdo from way back when. And I would say, at best, this is what we'll get done. It might be just one. We'll see. I'm kind of diving back in the soup here in the evening and off to bed soon. Yeah, I understand, man. I know it's got to be I don't know what that would be Eastern time. I'm guessing almost 11 p.m. Is that right? Or almost 10 p.m. Something like that. I don't do the 24-hour clock thing that, well, 22:46. Well, that would be, yeah, that would be almost 11 p.m. So 23 would be 11 and 24 or 1 would be 12, I guess. Is that right? I think that's how it works. Okay. So what we need to do is we're going to repurpose this shot, which I already saved as number 506. So all the assets are here. Should be an interesting exercise because this image sequence here actually already has the prior version, let's say, of the tent, admittedly with a bunch of grass that is kind of a holdover from earlier. So it might be, we'll play with it a bit. Hey, dead pianist. We'll play with it a bit, but probably what I will do, let me actually go back here. Let me look at this shot. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so that's the one where we had all the grass, and yeah, that pretty much needs to be in there. So I would say today was a public holiday, so I was back off work, back in the office tomorrow. Oh, okay. 3 a.m. for me. Oh, dead pianist, you are an animal. 3 a.m. Where are you, dead pianist? What country? I think that's so cool that we can hop on here and connect with people all around the globe. That's super cool. Okay, so yeah, I am curious what nation you're from. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, just to be safe, let's just do one thing that is obvious. You guys actually can't see it. I can see that you can't see it. I'm gonna turn off my webcam for half a second because you can't see that down here in the in this level strip. We're going to be reusing this drawing, but I don't want to reuse this exact drawing because we're going to be going from this to this, and we don't want that grass to appear. So what I'm going to do is make a duplicate of this one, and then just go right into it, hit the S key, and actually delete the drawing. And all that did for me was gave me a blank drawing here, even though the thumbnail didn't update. That's actually a blank drawing. So now what we can do is grab this one, hit the S key, copy. I'm sure there's probably some easier way to clone the drawing actually, but I'm going to assume this is probably a workable methodology. Okay, and if we're going to do it this way, strictly speaking, we probably should just delete all the grass and then paint out the stuff that's different, and then that at least gets that aspect of this background taken care of. So we're just going to select all that, poof, take it out, and then it's a little bit of a clunker, but let's grab the brush and we're just going to paint that out. Paint out the grass, so we kind of have two versions of this. Two versions of this version of the interior of the tent, near where TNR is thinking she might be able to make her escape. Watching two streams. It's hey Dirt, and Dirt says splash. Oh, you're in India. Okay, okay. I need to get. I got a very good friend in India that I really need to reconnect with. See how things are going there as far as the this COVID situation is so nasty in India right now. It's just terrible. At least that's what we're hearing. My friend is in, well, it'd be Bombay. I don't think they don't call it Bombay anymore, do they? I think they call it something else. I don't know. Okay, so we'll clean that up, and then when her hand drops, you know what we could do too, actually? If that dropped quickly, let's do another duplicate right here, and actually let's just kind of put another one in there. R key, so we're gonna let that fall just a little bit like that, and then smack a little bit more of that highlight in there. So we're going to go boom, boom when she drops it. Let's see. I can tell I used the oil paint brush there previously. So I'm going to go ahead and whoops. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to hit the R key. Smooth that out. It's really bad here. I'm lucky that me and my family's safe. That's for sure. Dude, no kidding. I'm glad to hear everybody on your end is okay. I mean, you know, I'll tell you something, guys. I watched a documentary, actually two documentaries, two different ones, 2 days ago, yesterday or the day before. I don't know. It's all a blur. But all about the Spanish flu. And the first one was from the standpoint of a fairly accomplished scientist that's been involved in genetic research, just to kind of speak in the colloquial terms, essentially tracing back the through many years of hard work, tracing the DNA origins of the Spanish flu. What I found really interesting about the Spanish flu, though, is that everything we've seen happen socioculturally here in the United States in terms of leaders being in denial about the seriousness of it, saying, oh, it's just another influenza, blah, blah, blah. Everything that's happening in the last year, it all happened in 1918. It's really amazing, the parallels. Just crazy. And just like in 2020, the people or the countries, the places that really responded very quickly, very strictly, everybody cried about it, but they didn't have the huge outbreaks. And everybody that was, you know, in denial wound up suffering horribly from the Spanish flu. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? That's what they say. It's quite sad. And by the way, along those same lines, the total death toll in the United States from the Spanish flu was about 600,000 people. I mean, people think of it, the Spanish flu, 1918 to 1920, as being like, you know, really a bad pandemic, you know, way worse than COVID-19. But actually, our death toll at this point from COVID-19 is just under 600,000. We've almost passed the death toll from the Spanish flu. You know, crazy, man, crazy. And yet we still have people who don't take it seriously, and the same people that were saying masks don't work and all this kind of stupidity. You know, once we get, it's like Tucker Carlson, you know, the bonehead. Once we get a vaccine, then they turn around and are coming up with all sorts of crazy mythologies as to why you shouldn't take the vaccine. It's just so stupid. But we don't learn, you know, we just don't learn. So there it is. Anyway, what I'm going to do here is turn the shadows off. So those are vector layers. I'll wind up animating them downstream. And at this point, they're just a distraction, really. So it'd just be better to have them out of there. Okay, so that is all I will say about the whole COVID as compared to Spanish flu. But I will, the documentaries I watched were both on YouTube. Let me look at my history, and I'll tell you if somebody might be interested, because they were two completely different kinds of videos. I mean, one was a lecture from the scientist dude, and then the other was kind of a documentary unpacking how the world recovered from the Spanish flu. So on my other screen, I'm looking at the history. See y'all. And just because I'm such a sweet guy, I'm going to let you know what it was I watched. So bear with me for half a second while I search through the zillions of YouTube videos. I do actually watch quite a lot of YouTube. So this was the second one. I wouldn't say it's a great documentary, but it wasn't too bad. The Spanish flu and how the world recovered. History documentary. I wouldn't say History Time's like the most impressive channel I've ever seen, but he's doing okay though with 600,000 subscribers. So the Spanish flu and how the world recovered, that was actually the second one I watched. And then I believe it was this. Yes. This guy was a good deal more impressive, this scientist. It's amazing because it turns out that the Spanish flu, if I remember correctly, the DNA pathway that you can trace back determines with some level of certainty that the Spanish flu actually originated. I could have this wrong because I only watched it once and I wasn't paying super close attention through the whole thing, but I believe it actually originated in horses and then made the jump to fowl or swine. I'm not sure. I might be thinking of a different pandemic that he discussed in the lecture, but it's really, really fascinating how the work this guy's doing and being able to actually look at the DNA and then get really old samples of stuff that he's able to analyze and find the commonalities in the DNA chain that shows that, you know, this evolved into that and yada yada yada. So pretty crazy stuff. So what we need to do, getting back to our timeline here, is he says he's basically welcoming the prince to enter the tent. So then she's going to hear that, and then she, you know, looks up with this expression. So we need to get from one to the other. So what I'm going to do is File, Save All, just kind of start clean here. And then what I'm going to do also is just hit the B key. Oh, Tahoma's being a little pukey here for a moment. No problem. We'll be patient. It's because it's saving, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm going to create a new level. And let's just go ahead and I'll do what I did yesterday and just use the charcoal brush to sort of block things in roughly, because in this case we're going to want to actually rough in some animated keyframes. I'm thinking that she's going to probably have 1, 2, at least 2 or 3 drawings to get her from where she is to where she's going to be. So So we'll use all these assets, but for now I'm going to make them semi-transparent so I can see what I'm doing. So the first drawing is going to be to just trace over her. If you remember yesterday, I kind of drew these indicator lines to show you what the path would be for her spine. And I mentioned at that time that it's not going to be very clear that her head is turned and looking this way, but the shot goes by so quick it was no big deal. So I want to rough this in so that we can be a little more careful here on this shot with the character animation. We can't just sneak by with a chimpy drawing and or bit of motion. So alright, so we'll just sketch that. And hey, Soda Pop. Alright, so what's going to happen? Well, the next drawing, I'll just go ahead and give myself one frame of onion skin, and I'm thinking that the way I'm going to play this, I'm going to do the Animate thing where she's gonna kind of pop her head up a bit, and we're going to see this effect. Bop bop. So it'll be kind of like bam 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 with the little rectangles, showing that she's startled, and then we'll get her turned around where she looks back. So again, I'm just going to trace the hand, and so she's going to go zoom. Probably half a second or so, maybe 6 frames. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and make that a duplicate. Hit the D key. I'm sorry, not the D key. That's not what I meant to do. Make this a duplicate. Hit the E key so we can erase this stuff. And then I'm going to just put an oval in here to kind of indicate that turn of the head. I think that's going to be a 1-framer, so I'm going to hit the D key again. Just erase that. Now I want to be maybe... I think I'm going to erase all of this as well, because it seems to me she should push up a little bit. Now if she pushes up, maybe her elbow would come back. The reference drawing, I mean, her head is really cocked up there. And boy, in this case, I want to think about this for half a second, because I really like the way I did her expression on the storyboard, and I've kind of got this framed incorrectly. So how picky do you want to be? I mean, we can say, well, let's completely reframe this shot, but I think that's probably overkill. So what I'm also thinking is right here, I'm going to put in these 2 drawings that I did. So this is going to go like that, and then like that. It's just going to be a real quick 2-frame. Okay, so that's interesting. Did I make that opaque again? I don't remember doing that. So that's strange that once I add... Okay, so this could be a bug. I better save my work. Okay. This is not a bug. I think this is a feature. Okay, so it looks to me like, Darren, if you're still around, I don't know if you are, but if you are, you might want to comment on this. It's that if a level is, well, I don't know. I was going to say if the level opacity is turned down, but you actually select it, then you see it fully opaque, which actually would be kind of a useful feature. But that does appear to be what goes on here. I don't think that's an OpenToonz thing. I think that's a Tahoma thing. That's pretty cool, actually. So does everybody get that? You can turn down the opacity of your levels, but if you click on it to do something, it goes to fully opaque again. I'll take that. I'll call that a feature, not a bug. I like that. Okay, so there you go. So the timing looks about right. I think that if we compare this expression here, okay, so let's just say, I just made a mistake. Hang on, let me hit undo. Okay, if I go over here to TNR, let's just zip way in here and get just kind of a rough of her eyes, so we can at least kind of see what we're doing. Okay, and then she's going to have a little bit of a little cheekbone indication there. Okay, hit the N key to pull back to, yeah, I mean, so this is what we're comparing, just so you guys know what I'm sort of debating here is the difference between that pose and that pose. Frankly, I like the new one better now that I've got it drawn. So, but don't you agree though, Darren? That's actually a super cool feature. It seems very useful to me. I love the idea that I can turn down the opacity of these layers. It's kind of what happens in Krita when you, I believe it's the same in Krita that if you put a layer as, let's say, 10% opaque, so it's almost transparent. But then when you hit the tilde key and solo or isolate that layer, however you want to say it, it becomes fully opaque. So that's how it works in Krita. Now here it doesn't seem to work. It's not really working in conjunction with the idea of soloing a layer or a level, because I can do that here. I've got the hotkey set up so I can hit the tilde key and actually isolate that level. That's not what I'm doing. Now now we're maybe seeing the bug aspect. Oh no, we're not. My bad. Okay, so what just happened was, this is probably worth showing. What I did was, where the heck is it? I'm having a brain fart on my, oh yeah, right here. Okay, so on this one right here, you can, when I talk about isolating a layer, I'm not talking about the render settings, okay, the way it would look when it's rendered. I'm talking strictly about the way it looks in the fast preview. So the way I have it set up is on this column, which is pertinent to the live high performance display, if you will, as opposed to the rendered preview. If I hit my tilde key, it says show this only. So that gives me that. Well, if I hit control tilde, it goes to show all, because that's the only way to undo soloing the level. So the bad news about that is that any levels that I had turned off get turned back on. So anyway, that just wanted to explain that so you guys know what the heck's going on here. So here, I'm not, okay, Darren, I don't know if it's because of the onion skins. I don't think it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the onion skins. Okay, so what we have is we've got this layer. Okay, now that's interesting. Okay. Maybe, dude, maybe you're right. Maybe it's got to do with the onion skins, because it's not like Krita where the onion skins are specific to the layer. In OpenToonz and Tahoma, the onion skins are pertinent to the entire X sheet. So I think Darren's right. I think that's what's going on, is because we're just getting two instances of it ghosted over top whenever I select a specific layer. But I don't know, that looks pretty opaque. I mean, I can turn the, yeah, see, I can turn the opacity down all the way. And if the onion skins are on, when the layer is selected, it's fully opaque. If the onion skins turn back off, it just goes back to being whatever you set it to. I would say that's actually kind of a useful, weird, almost maybe a bug, but sort of a feature. So I turn the onion skin on, just give myself one onion skin, and now any level that I select becomes fully opaque, and I can work on it kind of more or less in isolation. I think that's actually quite useful. Every once in a while you get a big win, right? Okay. So, yeah, thanks for helping me grok that out, Darren. All right, so I do want to check a couple things now. I want to look at the script and look at the subsequent shots here in the show just to make sure. Yes, okay. So the next time we see Tianara, she is she's back sitting on the sofa, and she has her veil on. So basically, um, we're not going to see her get into that position. She's just going to go, oh, boom, and then it cuts away to Mel, and then it cuts from Mel to Vespar, the prince, coming into the tent. And so then when we finally get back to Tianara, she's in place, and it's one of those things that you didn't quite explain fully, but everybody knows what happened. Which I think is a legitimate storytelling device, unlike in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's kind of the opposite, where they say, well, let's just solve it with a little bit of magic and never explain it to the audience, which is the case where Indiana Jones has no idea how he's going to get from here to there, and then the next thing you see is a horse leaping over something, and now he's on horseback, and there's no explaining where the heck the guy went and got a horse. So, kind of related storytelling devices, I guess. Or maybe I'm just blowing smoke. So we got this. I think I've got all the keys in there that I need. So let's go ahead and here we can delete those because we don't actually need them. And then I'm going to come back over here and probably, honestly, my best course of action I think is to delete these and just kind of chase this other column in terms of its structure. So I'm going to hit the D key so I make a duplicate, and then I'm going to hit another duplicate and yet another duplicate. And then we'll just clean them up to match the sketches. So here, I'm going to be kind of ruthless in my the way that I'm going to sort of clean this off so that I can carry forth without the distraction of the other drawings. So I'm just going to chop, get this out of here. Sorry, made a mistake. I don't want selective to be turned on because I want to erase everything. So we'll get rid of that. Here, pretty much the same thing. I think we should just keep it clean, and then this one, golly, we're gonna keep her hand, but other than that, we're gonna have to do some inking. So there's that. Then this guy can be actually turned down, and now we're ready to rock on ink and paint and get this thing whooped into shape. So step one for that would be to crank the opacity back up. And here we go. This really needs to be turned down though. It's got to be like barely able to see it. Otherwise it's going to be too much of a distraction. So, okay, yep, nothing going on in the comments or whatever, so I'm just going to keep forging ahead. B key, smoothing, let's go ahead and crank it up to halfway. See how that goes, and then we'll kind of just feel this. Erase, boom, B key, leak. Oh, I know what's going on. Yeah, this is a bummer. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, folks. I am going to take this. I'm going to delete this key and see what happens. Okay, she's a little smaller. I'm going to leave it that way, though, so that I'm not getting confused in terms of where things are. I think am I clean? I'm still not clean, so I must have a, I would assume there's probably a leak right here on one of the edges. Fill tool. Yep, that did the trick. So I'm going to just jump over here. And okay, I'm looking at my reference image to make sure I'm not making any boo-boos. Okay, I'll deal with the details of well, actually, let's do it this way. Let's pull out just a little bit here, and then I'm going to go S key, I'm going to grab these, and then for this next key, I'm going to go ahead and paste them back in, and then we will adjust from there. This is going to have to be erased, but at least that kind of sort of gets things a little closer to where they need to be. So now this is kind of more the way I usually work in Krita, actually. I'm going to go ahead and let's rotate that a little bit and just maybe make a little adjustment on the shoulder, and then we'll just figure out how to clean it up so that any wackiness is fixed. So a little wackiness there. It's just always easier to just erase things and redraw them than to try to take something that's not quite right and make it work. And that's not a 100% rule. You know, sometimes you can take stuff and make it work, but okay, so right here's a good example. This needs to have a line right there, and this should really just be erased, and then I'll refill it. Okay, are we suitable for refill? I think we are. Fill tool, boom, 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 boom. Okay, piece of cake. Alright, so now we can turn this back on, albeit very, very transparent. And let's do some ink and paint here. Boom, boom. This is just a one frame tween, so we've got a little bit of latitude on this one as well. I actually think I'm just going to put flesh tone in there and call it good. Again, it's a one frame tween. So she's just going to go broom, 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 broom. And hey, if it doesn't work, we'll make adjustments, but I think that's going to be fine. Okay, so now let's zoom in. This is what the audience is actually going to be able to, you know, lock their eyes on and criticize. So here we want to be a little bit more exacting. But hey, that's one of the fun things about animation, is that you've got the ability to be sloppy, frankly, if things are moving quickly. Here we got her hair. There's usually a little bit of an indication of some, like a little bit of a wisp there on the hair situation. Let's get this. That's feeling pretty good to me. Get them wrinkles in there. I should say get those wrinkles in there. Use proper English. Okay, hit the N key so I can pull out and kind of evaluate. Okay, and so this is probably going to be something like that. Yeah, I think we're okay. Doop, doop, doop. Alright, a little Soda Pop says, see you tested OT 1.5. Would love to see you try 1.2. Yeah, I tell you what, Soda Pop, I might, you know, I guess I'd say this. If I get way ahead of schedule this week, then I may go ahead and dive in. But the only, if I remember correctly, the only feature on Tahoma 1.2 that came to my attention, it might have been you that said it, was this idea of being able to port your configuration from an old version to a new, which to me is not a good, that's not a good reason to do the upgrade. Because what's so great about not losing my configuration? You know, that there's not much of a win there as far as upgrades go. So you might want to post something here. What's the what are the compelling features? I haven't even looked into it. I mean, what's cool about Tahoma 1.2? Let me know, because I am curious. Okay, we've got to get a an eye color in there. So let's go like that. In this case, I actually think we should put in her beautiful greenish irises. just a little bit. And again, frankly, her little, I forget what they call it, but the little dot thing. Boom. Oh yeah, and I forgot about her hair. Her layer to put in the one little anime effect. So let's just skip those guys forward and put in a vector layer. Boom, boom. And you guys have all seen this before. For myself, I'm interested in the adjustments to the motion path feature in Tahoma. Now, okay, I don't know that I have ever one time animated anything along a path in Tahoma. There might have been, the closest I came to it, I guess the recent discussion, it was like a week and a half ago, where I was talking about particle systems and using some of the vector level tools that allow you to, which you can animate by moving the path. Is it related to that? I ported all my Tahoma stuff in one click, but also their motion path centering, auto close fill. I have to. Okay, so that filled. Okay, yeah, that worked. Okay, so we'll make those kind of a not too ridiculously saturated red. And I think I'm going to rotate my canvas so I can actually do these shapes a little bit better. I wanted it to look hand-drawn. I specifically didn't use the rectangle or anything. That was by design. And then I'll just, whoops, S key again. Okay, apparently with vectors, the old problem. Okay, I see what you got to do. You got to actually have it so you're moused over one of the, you can see. If you click here, it's going to let go of it. You got to click there. Okay, so there's that. We'll put that for, I don't know, 2 frames maybe. Let's turn on the onion skins one more time so you can see what the heck we're doing. And then B key. Actually, let's go back to this one. I'm going to rethink this just a little bit. Whoops. Okay, I got a little eager there, folks. This really should be smaller. I think even smaller, actually. I do not like the eraser on the vector level. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so that way we can go boom, boom, boom. Fills it in. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's more like it. And I would guess that we can probably put that in there 2 or 3 times. And I'm hitting Shift Alt R. And I guess we'll turn off the onion skins now and save our work. You just create a path node and center it with the Animate tool. And done. Now it sticks to the drawn path line. Okay. Now I'm guessing that the gaps tool, I assume that has to do with fill operation, probably on a vector level. And if so, you know, there's always been plenty of room for improvement when it comes to fill operations on vector levels. That's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let these guys come back to full opacity so that we can deal with our shadows. And gosh, this is going pretty quick. 40 minutes, not horrible. Okay, so we're going to have to put, I guess what we should do is just delete these so that we can go in and animate them as needed. Okay, yeah, we do have a little bit of a problem there. However, let me look at this. Okay. Yeah, technically these shadows really don't work anymore with her not scaled up. So basically, what I'm trying to say without coming out and saying it is that these shadows really just need to be redrawn. Okay. I think I'm gonna just redraw these two, actually. So I assume that's from here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So there's the problem. So we need to come here. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to kludge this a little bit. So let's go the S key, and I'm going to just grab this little bit here. This may not work, but I'm going to give it a crack. Yeah, if we go SV, that's going to be... this is very kludgy, what I'm doing right now. Do not try this at home. This is stupidly kludgy. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that up and then take this and see if I can move this back. And I really need to put on the onion skin so I can see where the... Yeah. So I want to see where the fingers were before, right? So the way I'm doing this is like admittedly really kind of silly, but yep, I still got to clean off just a little bit more so that I can then get this in position and then go ahead and draw around it to kind of finish putting her hand back in there. So it is what it is. So B key, I'm gonna say, I'm actually gonna go ahead and hopefully this will work. Feels a little embarrassing, actually. This is a little embarrassing because it looks so stupid, and I didn't. Again, this is one of those things that is a little bit clunkier for me. Maybe not for somebody else, but for me in Tahoma versus working in Krita. But it's okay. We're doing okay. What if... Boy, I don't like that. Everything about it looks really chimpy and cheap and stupid to me. And it's all because the initial translation was removed. So I'm putting it back. Since we got to redo the shadows anyway, what's it matter? So she was scaled up a little bit. Now that we've got the drawings done, we can do this. And she was positioned more like that before. So I'm going to say, if we have her there, I realize it's a cheap trick, but it absolves me from having to fuss and fuss and fuss and fuss over her hand, which I really didn't want to do and didn't expect to do. So, okay, so that means these guys actually need to be offset a little bit. No big deal. Yeah. Okay, cool. That got it back under control. Okay, so I'm going to just come up here, look at the messages. He brought back new file info for organizing folders in the stuff for productions. Okay. Fill with the gaps tool will certainly be something that will be interesting to look at, I'm sure. Okay, so this is our cast shadow. Let me solo that layer. I see what the deal is. So eraser. Let's go here. Okay. Alright, now we can get our cast shadow back in there. I'm just going to keep it pretty loose. And then here, I'm going to hit the D key and then see what we need to do as far as a little adjustment. Man, I wish you could take a bite out of the vector shape, but I understand why you can. I mean, it's obviously, that's not, the reality is I always forget. The other thing that would be nice is some kind of well, a tool like this for the smart raster levels. Now you can come close to it. You just draw a shape and then hit the F key and fill it, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay, here I would say a D key, and then maybe there's just going to be a little bit of a tweakage. And again, now I'm going to go ahead and redraw it for this one. B. And there we go. So that gives us our cast shadow. Looks good. Boom. And now we just need to go in and do our, regular shadows. So this should be a little easier. A little easier. I'm actually going to smack in a little shadow action there too. So, as rendered, it's going to look like that. So, you can see that's going to work pretty well. Now I'm going to hit the D key. And probably at this juncture, it would be good to turn off the sketch completely. I don't want it to show up in the render either. Okay, so there's that, and so you can see what needs to be done. We'll just erase this stuff. That should not be in. Now, actually, I shouldn't have done that. This erroneous shadow here doesn't matter because it's going to be clamped to her anyway, so it just doesn't hurt anything for that to be in there. So B key, and we'll just kind of do that. Slide that down there. Okay, D key. This works, frankly. She should be completely in shadow there anyway, frankly. So this is the one that I want to be a little more careful on. So I'm going to hit the D key and then the E key and start getting rid of some of this garbage. Tis what it is. And let's turn that off. And then what we'll do is we'll just toggle back and forth to see. Okay. I'm kind of going fast here because I don't want to forget in my mind's eye what I had in the prior frame. Okay, so this is still going to be quite in shadow for sure. Quite in shadow. Boom. Okay, and then probably we should get that in there. Okay, did I set up my my render settings? I think I did, but shockingly, I seem to be just about ready to, to render this baby. Okay, so the one thing we do need to do is stretch that down yonder. So we're going to do 40 frames. So let's just hit Control-Shift-R, get the sucker rendered, see what it looks like in the show, and then we'll adjust if we need to. Okie dokie. Sounds like a plan. I thought so too. They have a raster segment eraser that works better than the vector one. Really? Okay, so now a raster segment eraser, I assume you mean on the smart raster levels. If it works, that would be really pretty useful. I mean, in practice, how often are you going to really need it? I don't know. But on the face of it, it's definitely a cool feature. So if those who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, I'll sort of show that in half a second. Okay, so this is going to be 8 frames a second. 506. Boom, there it is. Properties, we want no resampling. And so now this should probably go here. Yep, that's Mel. Alright, so we're going to go like that. Put that there, and let's see what we have. Here you go, Mr. Prince. Okay, I like it, except, boom, let's go back here. Okay, so to speak to what Soda Pop was saying, basically, let's just go down here and I'll just do a quick demo. Okay, so the idea is that you've got a smart raster level, and let's say you have a shape like this, and the idea is to use, so anyway, I assume that's what Soda Pop is talking about. And again, if it works, that would definitely be a cool feature. Kill, kill, kill. Okay, so the thing I didn't like was I want to change these crazy expressions to like yellow, and then now if I actually leave it at bright yellow, it's going to really kind of break the well, actually I can demonstrate. Hang on a second, let me render that. Okay, let me come back here and I'll show you what I was about to say. If you go here and you see how bright that yellow is, now we're actually okay. I didn't know if we would be, but if you look over here in the meters, if the yellow sneaks up into any of these green areas, and the truth is, it's only actually a problem on television. Okay, and basically nobody watches television anymore on an old CRT screen, but for the purposes of media deliverables, you still tend to want to respect this. If this was bright red, like if this color was that, you'll see, I can pretty much guarantee you, oh, I can't even believe it. Oh, I thought for sure it would be out in the illegal zone. But a really bright red oftentimes will get you into the danger zone, to where if you saw this on a television, it would be like completely blown out and look really bad. But anyway, enough of that tomfoolery. So I'm just going to basically set that maybe about there, something like that. And Control-Shift-R, and I think we're done with this shot. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to do something here that I don't always do, which is, let me see here. I've got, gosh, do I have any latitude? I've got like no latitude between these two shots. Ah, crud. Well, let me see how this works. Okay, here's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now, is that from a visual standpoint, from this shot to this shot is a little problematic, because visually it kind of strains your brain a little bit, because you've also got the tent, the pink tent on the left, pink tent on the left, and you got Mel here, and you got the soldier here. So it's not a horrible sin, but it's a little confusing. So my solution for that I'm going to use the Star Wars wipe, which I think I used in one other place in this show. So let me just find that. Linear wipe. Linear wipe. The well, we're moving this way, so I'm thinking I want it to go across the screen that way. So I think this is the one I want. Boom. And then I'm going to go ahead and crank the feathering down so it's almost like a straight line wipe. So let me see. Yeah, see, now it's not a problem. Now we don't have that disjointed feeling that you got from the sudden cut. Which is really cool because this is really it's kind of your quintessential Star Wars wipe because it serves the same dramatic purpose, which is these two things are happening at the same time, and we're just flopping between them. The reality is that this tent, he is at the back of this tent, and the soldier's entering at the front of the tent. Now, one other thing that's worth mentioning, now that I'm thinking about it, is this whole shot is a little bit flat on the saturation side of things. So I'm gonna pump it up a little bit. Look at the, and by the way, this is where you can look at this. Everything's topping out around 30 or so. So by cranking the saturation up here, as you can see, if you look at this little corner here, you can see that it actually pumped those colors up to where they're near 30 as well. And naturally, it also looks like the colors are roughly the same, which they should be because it's the same tent. You're just seeing it from the other side. So, cool beans. Now this, you know, the correlation or similarity between the color of the tent and Tianara's garment, that I don't love. But one thing we could do about that in this particular case is we could. So what we're going to do is we're going to take level or column 2 right here, and we can test that we're doing the right thing by just flipping it off and on. You can see that that worked. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an adjust. Does levels have a saturation channel? I don't think it does, but let's see. No, it doesn't. I wish it did. That'd be cool. So let's do replace effects, image adjust, and we're just looking for saturation. So let's go hue saturation value, adjust. Source and reference? Why do we want to have a source and a reference? Pivot, scale, and shift. I've never used this. Reference red. Okay, guys. What happened to a plain old just freaking adjust the saturation? Replace effects. Image adjust. There you go. See? Okay. So, looks like it's a little bit on the smart side. And I don't know for sure if that's a good thing, but I'm going to crank the value down just a little bit as well. Okay, so that basically looks better because it's going to be in shadow anyhow. Frankly, the other shot that involves the tent probably should have been modified this way, so maybe I'll go back in and do that. Okay, so let me just see. This is an HSV scale, and my levels are, I'm going to see if I can get away with making this as simple as possible so that I can remember the settings. So yeah, the worst possible reason to pick a certain numeric value is because you want it to be easy to remember. Minus 0.15. Again, I'll do 1.5 on both of them, and it actually looks okay. Especially if we do a hue shift. Let's try that. No, that doesn't really work. The hue shift thing's not really gonna click too much. So anyway, I'm not buying the value, so I'm gonna go 1.5 and I'm gonna go 0.2 on the value. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That's negative, so it really should be 0.1. I don't know if that made sense to you, because then we're these are level down, not level up. So saturation, I think I'm gonna actually go minus 0.1 on both of those. Yeah, that's better. So okay. So I'm gonna do a quick render on that shot, and then I'm gonna go back to 502 real quick. File, open recent scene file. Well, this again is why I use Tahoma, is because it gives me some ability to tweak up things procedurally. So same situation here is we're going to take column 2 and again add a image adjust, HSV scale, and what we did was minus 0.1 minus 0.1, and when it rendered, yeah, that's a little better. That's a little better. It is in shadow after all, so now I'm just going to do that, and then that shot will get rendered as well. And if we go back to our show, yep, see, look at that. Okay, cool. So we're going to have a problem here, though. Hokey smoke. So we've actually got to do 499 as well. I refuse to compromise. I am going to go in and fix 499 also. People, this is important. We need to have standards here. Standards, I say. 499. Boom. F3. Dealing again with column 2. What a coincidence. And I'm just going to do the same thing again. Insert an effect, image adjust, HSV scale, and we're going to go minus 0.1. And I guess we could just cut and paste that value from there into there, and file, save all, Control Shift R, and just as quick as you please, we've gone ahead and made those adjustments to all 3 of those shots. Nice. Okay, and one thing we could also do here is I kind of wonder if this wouldn't call for a smash zoom. Boom, right there. Yeah, let's do a smash zoom. As you guys know, I tend to use smash zooms kind of a lot actually. So I'm going to take this key, put it there, and we're not going to use very many frames to do this. So I just want to go 1 frame ahead to where her head turns. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, so that gives us, where are we at then? Yeah, we're at 12 seconds for today of show, which is pretty good. Not too bad. Got the linear wipe in there. I'm liking the way it feels. Okay. Except we really don't have 12 seconds. As usual. Boom. We really need to cut that there. Maybe a couple frames longer, but basically what we've really done today is about 10 seconds. Yeah, 11. So what we're going to do is let's carry on to the next Mel shot because that's going to be a quick one. Quick one-ish. We do have to do some character animation on his face for sure, but file, save all, and now let's go back to 504. Let's open a recent scene, 504, and what Mel is going to do, for this shot we're not going to have any of this, all the wide stuff. Yeah, this is all close up. Sorry, you guys couldn't see that. I'm looking at Mel's expression. It cuts to him, and he goes, print? Oh, jeez. And then we cut inside, and Vespar is entering the tent. So, that's what we got to animate here. So for this shot, go to our cast window. Sorry, we want panels, not view. Let's go ahead and clean out the cast. Remove all unused levels. And now we're going to file, save as 507. So this is not 506. This is 507. And by the same token, on our output settings, we are going to render this as 507. Okay? Good deal. File, save. Okay, now we could do a little due diligence and get rid of the erroneous column there and there. Now, first thing I'm going to do, let's see. Previously, he did this. Actually, that action isn't the worst, except that this expression's wrong. So, what do we have here? I wonder why we have a second image there on the mesh. We've got they appear to be identical. I am gonna say let's just get rid of that, and let's get rid of that key. Okay, so we'll just stretch this down a bit so we got a little room to work. And now hit the X key. And we are gonna have him do the same thing insofar as turning his head up. And I think in this case I'm gonna go boom, boom. Okay, and then here, right there, it's that drawing. Let's go. Shoot, I want to play it safe. So what I'm going to do is grab this, hit the S key, delete everything. Take this drawing, hit the S key, S key, and paste it in. And then from here on, we can just make duplicates. But I don't ever, if I'm repurposing content from an earlier shot, I never want to duplicate drawings within the level strip, because you run the risk of changing the ordering of the drawings in the TLV file, and then your earlier shot is now wrecked because it's going to show the wrong drawings at the wrong time. So this is going to be actually take that down like that and smack this in here. And now what we need to do, actually, let's go back to F3, state schematic. What we're going to do is we're going to bypass, for now, the plastic tool. So we're not going to worry about the plastic tool for the moment, because if we do, it's going to make it impossible for us to draw in the X sheet. We'll have to draw directly on the level strip, which I don't want to do. So with that in mind, we'll just turn the plastic tool off and hit the B key, and then make some adjustments here. Okay, so I'm going to make my adjustments again, as I sort of mentioned earlier today. I'm not going to start erasing things. I'm just going to draw the new version of it and then do the erasing. So this will all make sense here in a jiffy. Alright, so I'm going to go in pretty close here, and I'm actually going to erase these eyes. Okay, B. Okay, so now I'm going to check that. I did pretty well. I did pretty well in this case. Let's hope I can do this twice. Wow! Geez, that's like the best oval drawing I maybe have ever done. Yeah, and let's stick with this. Stick with the outline color is what I was trying to say. Okay, and we have a little bit of a naughty tangent right there. So now we'll go F key, fill tool. We want to be in normal mode for this. And I'll just patch that baby up, and this is going to be, frankly, I'm going to hit duplicate, but then I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to hit the little bit kludgy here, folks. It's all because I'm trying to keep the drawings in the right order. So I'm going to go like this, Control C, because frankly what I really want here is this drawing is closer. Okay, then we can take this, drag it in here, and let's make some adjustments to it. Again, whoops, wrong color there, folks. Boom. Methinks just erase a little bit. Fill tool, whoops, that's not what we want. Okay, we need to make sure we have some lines in there. This is where this feature, auto paint for lines, can be useful, because you could put lines in there to split the two, divide the color areas, and then when you actually fill it with color, the lines that you drew for that purpose get erased automatically. Okay, so E key. Boom, boom. Fill tool, boom, boom. Okay. Alright, let's zip out. DM key, take a look here. His eyes look a little off character, but I think in this case that's probably okay if we make it clear that he's scowling. So we'll go with that. So now what we're going to do is we got to get some lip sync in there. So I would say here, since he's going to start talking, why don't we just hit the old eraser and get the mouth out of there. Get it out of there. And then we're going to come over here and go. B. Okay. So he says Prince. Fill tool, let's do this one in freehand mode so we can boop like that. Let's make the mouth a little bit transparent, as we often do. I think that's pretty close to what we want. Let's look at the timing. Prince. Okay, so we got to stretch this down. I'm just hitting Alt down arrow because I just need to give myself a lot of frames so that it doesn't cut off the way it just did. You can say Prince. Okay, let's go here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the D key, make a duplicate, zip in here. Actually, I want to probably keep some remnant of that. At least I can see what I was doing. Okay, this is probably going to be a little kludgy. Let's find out. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Let's do normal mode, boom, boom, and then we'll come back into it. And this is where we have the quintessential OpenToonz and Tahoma issue of it really doesn't know whether to decide if it's going to let you draw your new lines. So in other words, you almost have to just erase and refill because you wind up with a lot of artifacting. It's one of the great flaws in Tahoma and OpenToonz. Just is what it is. It's been there ever since OpenToonz was released. Bit of a strange thing. Okay, so I'm going to give him a 2-frame blink. And then we're going to go think about what we want to do. I'm thinking he's gonna tilt his head. I think we better pipe him back through the plastic tool and just see how our timing is. So F3. This is column 2. Column 2. Boom. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. V. And turn this back on, and it just seems to me let's turn keep distance back on. Okay. As you can see, obviously the mouth is going to have to be piped through the plastic tool as well. So, with that, let's just get that done. The mouth is column 6. And hopefully that's not going to screw up the positioning of his mouth in the other. No, looks like we're good. Okay, so he's going to go. Ah, jeez. Alright, so let's look at the mouth shapes. We'll give this a try. We'll see how it works. Let's get rid of these guys. I'll just delete them because we're going to have to clean up the bottom of our X sheet anyway. Flow. This is it, because it's not only often but probably almost always the case that if you're doing character animation that involves the plastic tool, you want to be able to just interactively deal with the timing of movement and lip sync and eye blinks and all these sorts of things, and you can't, because the minute you start using the plastic tool, you're no longer able to draw over your character unless you put some stuff in another level entirely that isn't going through the plastic tool. But that has problems of its own that I won't unpack at this moment. So we basically have to do everything. We have to figure everything out without the secondary animation, which in a way is a good thing as a discipline, because you kind of want to work up in layers, so to speak. So, you know, it's got its point. So he's going to say, oh, geez. And then this is going to be, hello? B key? Oh, come on. You're going to just start drawing out of the blue like that? Okay. Tahoma just went stupid on us. Okay, so what happened was there's a hiccup relating to its interpretation of the mouse. It got it wrong. You can see what happened. And when that happens, there's, at least in my experience, there's no undo. There's no undo. Ugh. Okay, okay. Wow. Yuck. Okay, so now there's that drawing. Wow. And look at that. There's like little drawings just appearing out of nowhere. So it might be time to file, save all, and kill Tahoma and restart it. Unfortunately, I don't want to take any chances with this because I'm too far into this shot for it to, can't really afford for it to be going stupid on me. So, 'tis what 'tis. There are worse things. This is 507. Yes, 507. Let's load it up. See if we got any. Okay, so now we've got this drawing that we want to pipe over here. And, okay, now that's not good. Why? Okay, so that's on me. take everything back out of the plastic tool. Oh dear heavenly golly day, I don't like having to do that. Turn on the onion skins and save all. Okay, now hopefully I can hit the B key, go in here, put that expression, which is where I mean basically for the last probably 10 to 15 minutes this is what I've been trying to do, is just put that mouth on him. That's it. So, oh dear, oh my. Okay, so when he comes out of this expression, when he comes out of closing his eyes, I don't think this is what we want. Not at all. That's not what we want. We want D key, turn off the onion skins, and what I'm going to do, that I think the cleanest way to work with this particular situation is to hit the E key and just completely erase all of this so that I'm really starting clean on Mel's expression. Okay, this is sort of close, and because it is sort of close, I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste it in and try to mod from there, because we'll see how this goes. Okay, I want to spank that down just a little bit. Okay, this may go sideways. Actually, what I really want to do here is just get these eyes a little bit more under control. So I'm squinting so that I can better see what's really there and ignore what I want to ignore. So hitting control. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Let me hit the M key and see if it... Yep, we want to probably... That's not too bad. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, so now we need to do a little cleanup. Fill, fill, fill. Okay, probably here the best course of action would be to delete these lines entirely and refill them. Okay, so that's not too bad. So when he says, geez, he's kind of got a worried look on his face. Because really, jostling with the prince is not high on Mel's list of things he wants to do today. So I'm going to go here, add another duplicate, and bring the eyebrows down. Like so. I think that's going to be about right. Okay. Maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see. So now we've got to do this the Tahoma way. Just erase everything. Okay, and then that just needs to extend down to here. And probably from about here, should just chop these babies out. Chop, chop, chop. Okay. Whew. Let's see what we have. Okay, this, I was hoping this would not be pushed down. It was a little too slow. Bump. And I actually think I would even hold it maybe actually half second. Boom. Prince? Oh, I see. Okay, okay. I would say this this bit here should actually happen when his eyes are still... Yep, like that. Okay, so now unfortunately what we need to do is, let's go Control C, Control V, so we can then, boop, pop those back in. Jeez. Okay, not too bad. Let's pipe it back through the plastic tool, because there's a lot that doesn't quite feel right about his animation because the plastic tool is not operating. So let's see if that whips it into shape a bit. Print? Oh, jeez. Not too bad, not too bad. I don't know if it's perfect, but probably getting along here far enough that I think I'll probably get the shadows in there, and then maybe call it a day. Okay, okay. The shadows are baked in, and they're actually being controlled by the plastic tool, so strike that. I guess I don't need to do any shadow work, so this is cool. Let's cut this into the show and see what we've got. Just to make simple round numbers, we'll jump that up to 56. Control-Shift-R. And let's jump over to our edit and see how we did. Okay, so we're going to go Project Media, import number 507. Yeah, that went a little smoother than it might have. This is definitely a bit of a clunker dealing with that. Well, it kind of underscores that my workflow where I do most of the basic asset generation in Krita really does still remain probably the better way for me to work most of the time. But today I went ahead and allowed myself to see if we could kind of stay in Tahoma and see how that goes. Okay, so let's go here, then delete that and see what we have. So she's a little bit concerned. Print? Oh, jeez. Okay, so we need a, I mean, it's basically a gulp type situation, so we probably need another eye blink here. All right? And also, we can pop that off. Okay, so something through here was too slow. Right there. Yeah. Boop. Yeah, that right there. That's completely silly looking. And I wonder if this X key animate, let's turn this on. I'm going to go ahead and kind of take a chance here. I'm going to save all and see if we turn off keep distance and we actually pop this a little bit more. Let's just see how that feels. Not too bad if he comes down from it quickly. Boop. I like that better. Okay, and this, I'm going to say here, I'm going to do, let's do 2 frames instead of 3, and I think it should flank the change in the drawing. Yes or no? Yeah, definitely need an eye blink there, so boom. There's, this is number 8. I guess we could actually use that blink right there. So let's go 2 frames. I think we're okay using that blink there. We'll give it a crack and see what happens. Control X. Come on. Let me select what I want to select, Tahoma. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so 56 frames. I'm just going to re-render, and I think we're done for tonight. I do believe I'm done for tonight. Let me see. Print? geez. Yeah, I mean, oh, maybe a slow push on that shot. Let's see. Let's see how this feels. Go, go, go. Ba-dum-bum. Well, if we're going to do it, we need to do it. So that's not enough of a push. Can't even feel it happening. Gosh, what if we did 2 blinks? Boom, boom. I think so. I just kind of want to press the tension concept here a little bit better. So I'm going to say, let's take that off and duplicate this. So let me see. Maybe, maybe not. Don't know. Don't know if those should be on 1s or 2s. Feels like probably 2s. Can I do it this way? Reframe on 2s? Yeah, there we go. The second one should not be on 2s. And should there be a slight change, Control C with the plastic tool here. Control V. Yeah, I like it. I like it. That feels right to me. That feels right. Okay. I did okay. I did okay this day. 2s, yep. Well, see, I like the first one being on 2s, but then on the second one, I think I like it being quicker. I'm gonna go with my choice on that one this time, but I appreciate the input. You guys often have some pretty good ideas. I've had a few items along the months and years where subscriber suggestions really improved a shot. I would say I like the 2s and then the quick blink. What you could do, let's try one thing different. Let's go like this and then put the other blink on 2s over the head turn. Boop. Let's try that. I'll bet you that's going to look the best of all. Boom. And we can just jump over to the show and see. So transition back over here. Thanks for the input, Maria, as well. Like that they've sort of queued him up to marry her. That's exactly what I did on that shot, was the Hitchcock thing. So I don't know if you remember that. It's been a while ago, but yeah, I'm gonna say gut 40. I'm gonna kind of split the difference and take your suggestion to do 2s, but also move that second blink forward. Yeah, because I think with an audio gulp, it'll actually work quite nicely. So okay, that's it. So we've gotten So that's what we've done today. So we've actually done 18 seconds today of actual show. Once it's edited and in there, everything is timing out. So that's good. That's the pace I need to be at. Sometimes it goes a little quicker than today. Usually not much slower though. I mean, what do we got? Almost an hour 40 here, and then we had 3 this morning. So yeah, 5 hours. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. But I like what I'm seeing. So with that, I think I'm going to call it a night. Get Zuko off to bed. And thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as you know, as I always say, there will be more later.